All right, cool. Now we're recording.
Okay.
All right, welcome to Yoga and Conditioning for Athletes. My name is Mike. This is my wife, Shelby.
Hello.
Today we're streaming from Unbound Collective in Newport Beach, California. We're going to be discussing the foot and ankle joints today with a specific emphasis on foundation. What was it?
Basic support.
Basic support, excuse me. Yeah, basic support and center of gravity. We're going to try to hop into the movement space or movement portion as quickly as possible. Shelby's just going to go over a few visualizations and some cues real quick.
Cool. So basically your basic support is your foundation. So that's your feet and your communication up the chain. So your basic support, we have 3 arches in the feet. Most people think we have 1. We actually have 3. It's between, I drew them out here. It's between the base of your big toe, right here, the base of your heel. And there's an arch between the base of your heel and the base of your pinky toe as well. And then there's another arch between the base of your big toe and the base of your pinky toe. So 3 arches help to support the structure that is the body, specifically the spine and everything, all the contents inside of your body. Center of gravity is where we drew these little red hearts. This is a static center of gravity. Most sports, most movement, most of life is moving. So that center of gravity will move, but you're going to try to maintain throughout class today 3 points of contact with either both feet or 1 foot, depending on what we're doing. And your focal point is going to be that you keep those 3 points rooted into the ground. So I'll give you guys some visuals as we go along, but that's basically just so you have a visual of where we're going. Those 3 points are where your attention should be for the entire class, essentially. So let's get going.
All right, cool.
Moving our video over. Everybody go ahead and start on your back. You're gonna keep your knees bent, your feet flat. And just find somewhere for your hands to rest on your body. And then draw your attention down the body into the feet. And just notice the inner edge of your foot, right to left, inner edge of both feet, how they are contacting the floor. And take a breath in and out. And then notice the edges, the outer edges of the feet. So we'll refer to this as the inner and outer blades of the feet throughout class. Inner and outer edges and inner outer blades. Notice how much space there is between the floor and the arches in your body, the outer arch and the inner arch.
We really should advise, especially for this class and most classes, you should be barefoot for this.
Yes.
Take your shoes off. If it's safe, obviously, if you're somewhere crazy. But if you're in your home or something like that, take your shoes off. Get connected to the ground with your bare feet.
Word.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. So just feeling where your base of support is in this position. So a lot of your base of support is on your back, and your spine. See if you can allow the heel bone, the center of your heel bone, just go ahead and kind of whoosh wash your feet side to side. So the outer edge of your right foot will push down, the inner edge of your left foot will push down, and then switch. So you can let the knees kind of go along for the ride, but really have the attention on the feet rolling. Feel what's happening in the ankle joint, that connection between the shin bone and where the foot meets. And notice how that moves, the muscles move the foot up and down. Good. Good. And then find an equal neutral place to be. And then go ahead and just try to grab the mat with your toes or the floor or wherever you are. Try to grip the floor with all 10 toes. And imagine like you were going to suck it up like the top of a cupcake. Like try to pull the top of the cupcake up higher towards the sky. Notice what muscles are involved there. And then think about smushing the top of the cupcake down with the center of your foot. So try to smush the cupcakes towards the ground. Good. And then squeeze it back up, grab it, pull it up. Notice what muscles are involved there in your body. And then drop down, let the cupcake smush and squish out to the sides. Awesome. Good. And then go ahead and ground your feet down. Try to get so that your tibias, your shin bones, feel like they're pillars over your ankle joints. So probably everybody's going to walk their feet back a little bit. Take an inhale breath. And an exhale, drive the 3 points of contact into the floor as you bridge your hips up. As you bridge your hips up, notice what happens to your base of support, your center of gravity in your feet. Feel the space between the feet right to left. And feel the points, the base of the big toe, the base of the pinky toe, and the center of the heel. And see if you can keep that rooting both sides. Then slowly lower down. One more breath. Good. Breathe to come back up. Feel like the shin bones are stacked like pillars over the ankle joint. Keep those 3 points of contact level, and then start to walk your feet in closer together, just slightly. Good. You're gonna keep your pelvis this high off the floor, and then go ahead and just slightly lift your right foot 3 inches or so off the floor without collapsing the arches of your left foot. And then slowly set it down and switch. Good. 3 points of contact in the right foot as the left foot floats up. You can use your breathing here to help you stabilize. Good. And then slowly set the foot down. Good. Inhale, lifting the right foot up. And switch. Exhale, switch it up. Beautiful. Good. Breathing. Set it down. Good. Let's do one more. Try to keep the width of the waist equally long on both sides. So the space between the ribs and the top of the pelvis. Yep. Good. Awesome. And then switch. Notice if you hold your breath, try to utilize the breath to help you stabilize. Awesome. Good. And then set it down. Set your hips down. Hug your knees in. Let your knees come wide. So we call this happy baby in yoga. You're going to take your hands behind your thighs and go ahead and flex your ankles. So you're going to, really try to make the front of the ankle joint close down as much as you can without tensing the toes up too much. Now imagine like you were going to pin those 3 points of contact towards the ceiling. So if there was laser beams coming out of all 3 points on each foot, those laser beams would hit the ceiling at the same angle, at the same rate. Spin the knees out a little bit more, like 100% of us need to spin the knees out more in this position. Good. And then see if your foot can follow that. Yeah, nice work. Awesome. So he's going to hang on to his left leg and extend the right leg straight out towards the floor. And as soon as he does that, his pelvis is going to want to shift. So let your foot come a little bit further away from your chest. Let the left knee come further away from the chest as the right thigh drops towards the floor and lengthens out. Beautiful. Good. Awesome. Interlace the hands behind the left thigh and then start to kick. So now instead of the foot going towards the ceiling, take the foot towards the wall in front of you or wherever you are and kick the leg into the hands. Keep the interlace. Good. Feel the lower spine flatten onto the floor. Feel the foot of the right pressing out, away from the pelvis. Awesome. Take an inhale breath. And an exhale breath. Try to stay that high. Release the hands. Reach your fingers toward your feet. Beautiful. He's working. And you can always set that bottom leg down on the ground. It doesn't have to hover. Good. Nice and slow. One vertebrae at a time to lower. Beautiful. He's going to release the left foot and grab a hold of the right thigh. So grabbing hold of the right thigh. Same thing here. Lots of rotation. So if your kneecap had a flashlight in it, a spotlight, it would shoot out to the side slightly. Like in the direction that way, whatever that direction is. Flex your foot. Good. Foot's going to come up towards the ceiling to be parallel to the ceiling. So if you had a delicious platter of appetizers on here, you don't want to tip the appetizers any direction. I can speak to him in food language. Spin this out, spin the knee. Yep, good. Awesome. Take a breath. So that's how much space he has to do that with good solid base of support if he were standing. So interlace the hands behind that right thigh. Good. Take an inhale, breathe into the back. Good. And as you exhale, bring the foot down, 90-degree bend in the knee, and start to push the foot and the thigh this way. Let your chest come up with it. Beautiful. It's like you're standing into your hands. Inhale. And as you exhale, press that left thigh down. Keep the chest lifted, the belly in. Release the hands, reach for the toes. Active reach for the toes. Beautiful. Good. And then slowly lower one vertebrae at a time as best as you can. Keep the leg as is. And then set the foot down. Awesome. Good. Flip over. Onto all fours. Good. Go ahead and tuck your toes. With your toes tucked under, see if you can activate some of those. Think about the 3 points of contact in the feet. Try to get the muscles around those 3 points of contact just in your mind's eye to engage. Okay, and then go ahead and take an inhale breath, fill up your back body. Good. And then exhale, cat-cow. Moving into cat-cow. See if your feet lose ground as you move. Go for it, keep going. Really rooted legs here. Good. And pushing down. Pulling the chest through the arms longer, 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 away from the foundation of the feet. Good. One more time. Rounding out. He's breathing really nice in the back, really full breaths. And then your exhale, get longer, longer, longer. Keep going across the horizon. Awesome, good. Now here, take a neutral spine. Take an inhale breath into the back. Try to feel like your spine is neutral, and then let your knees float up a few inches off of the floor. Good. And then go ahead and everybody just peek at your kneecaps. Notice if your kneecaps are bowing in towards one another. Imagine like they had spotlights coming out of them, and you would just let the spotlight spin out towards the outer wrist. Yes, good. Take an inhale breath. Keep that position of the knees. Exhale, lift your hips up and back. Good. Awesome. Take an inhale breath. Feel yourself get longer through the waist. And as you exhale, bend your knees, walk your hands back to meet your feet. Walk your hands back to meet your feet. It's common. And then bend your knees enough so that your shins, again, are like pillars over your ankles. So drop the heels. And as the heels drop, can you find that point of contact, that 3 points of contact of the heel bone, base of the big toe, base of the pinky toe? And then use that to draw up. Start to roll your spine up. As you dig, 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 dig down into the feet, the shin bones stay pillars, like pillars. Awesome. Good. Stacking the brain on top of the 2 feet, right to left. Feel the position of front to back and side to side. Okay, and that's you playing with your center of gravity. All right, here we go. Hands to hips. Take an inhale breath. And as you exhale, sit. Chair pose. Notice what happens to your base of support. Those 3 points of contact in each foot come to stand. And that's just what we're gonna work with. Inhale to sit. Exhale to stand. Press through your 3 points of contact. Imagine like a 3-pronged outlet, like you were plugging it into the earth, and that's where you get all of your energy and charge back up into the system. Keep the plug in the socket. Good. Drive down and come back up. So good. Last one. Sitting back. 3, yep, awesome. 3 points of contact, press down. Good, awesome. Walk yourself to the front of your mat. I'm just gonna have him walk to the front of the mat. You can go sideways probably. I don't know, whatever. Do that, that's good. Just trying to figure out a view that works.
Okay.
Step your right foot back. Good. And then step it forward again. Step your right foot back and step it forward again. So here's your movement. Just paying attention to your front foot. Check how when your center of gravity changes up top, when your upper body changes, your center of gravity is going to change, but you've got to manage that with the muscles in your body. All you're focusing on is the base of support in your foot. Go for it. Sit back. Good. And then back up. Drive through the heel. Good. And sit back. Lunging. Keep that left foot rooted. Good. And then drive to step up. Good. One more time. Nice and simple movement. And drive up. Good. And then switch. Left foot steps back. Let's try about 5 on that side and notice what happens on this side. Notice if the arches want to collapse. Notice if the ankle wants to roll in or out. Everybody's different. Pay attention to what your body tends to do. This is just a little prep so that you know where you're at. Good. Stepping back. Drive through 3 points of contact and come forward. Good. And again, sit back and drive forward. Good. Let's do one more. Awesome, very serious. Good, awesome. Step your right foot back. This time, we're gonna play around here. High lunge, so here we are in high lunge. Feel your back heel drive up off of the floor to park over the ball of your back foot. Good, that knee's gonna stay bent to do that. And feel, there you go. Feel the center of gravity between the 2 feet here. See if you can get equal weight on the feet. And then reach your arms up, big inhale breath. Inhale. And as you exhale, hands sweep by the sides, chest comes forward, exhale. Powerful legs, good. 50% of your weight in your front leg, inhale, come up. 50% of your weight in your back leg. Keep that equal. Good, switch, pivot forward. Awesome, left butt comes back. Good, drive up, inhale. Good, and exhale, hinge. 2 more. As he's driving forward, the 3-pronged outlet of the legs, even though that back heel isn't plugged in, lots of power coming through the back leg. Awesome, last one. Bending the back knee, lifting the spine up through the work of the feet, and then dropping back down, step forward. Good, awesome. Step back with your left foot, inhale. Good, and before you start moving with the arms, just get a really solid base of support of what's happening down below. And if the arms are too much and you feel like you're off balance, just stay where you are with the feet and work on that. You ready? Back heel drives up. As he drives the back heel up, the knee's gonna bend a little bit to help him lift the front of the hip up. You get a nice solid base of support there. Good, when you're ready, inhale, raise your arms. Exhale, pelvis tilts back, chest tilts forward. Powerful legs, powerful, powerful legs. Inhale, reach the arms up. Big reach of the arms, power from the legs up through the chain. Good, and shift forward, hinge. Butt moves back, 50% of your weight in your front leg, 50% in the back leg, drive up. So nice, strong legs, good, last one. Tip back, butt comes back, legs stay equally loaded. Good, stay in this position here. Take an inhale breath, fill up your back body. And as you exhale, float your back foot forward. Tadasana. Good. Neutral spine is Tadasana. Awesome. So again, now find your base of support here. And then we'll step the right foot back again. Right foot back. This time, spin your right toes to a 45-degree-ish angle. Good. And then just make sure that, peek at your feet and make sure that you're not on a really tight, I'll show you guys this way. You're not on like a tight rope. You're on a wide balance beam. So that, yeah, the distribution between the feet is equal. Okay, close your eyes here. I'm gonna play with a little bit of awareness in the feet. 50% of your weight in your front foot, 50% of your weight in your back foot. Awesome, good. Inhale, raise your arms up. Go ahead and open your eyes if you need to. Otherwise, keep your eyes closed and play with that sensation of plugging the feet in. Exhale, forward fold, hands back behind you. Good, drive your feet. Inhale, reach up. 50-50 in your feet. Exhale, back down. Hands just can rest behind the pelvis so they can be like what Mike's doing. Inhale, reach up. Good. Exhale, notice when you go forward, go for it. You need to go forward. Weight wants to be lost off of this unless you plug your 3 points deeply into the ground to keep it equal. Good. Other things should start working in the body to stabilize you. Yes? Come on now. So good, and he's just gonna slowly release his arms, pivot his back heel up, float your right foot forward to meet your left. Awesome, inhale, chair pose, reach your arms up, sit your hips back. Good, exhale to stand. Good, notice if your toes wanna lift there. Inhale, sit back, keep your toes rooting with the balls of the feet, with the heel of the feet. Good, and then come back up on your next breath. Good, last one, inhale, reach up. And exhale, come to stand. Good. Sit into a little half chair pose and step your left foot back. Good, and then same thing. Spin your left foot out at about a 45-degree. Make sure you're on a wide balance beam and not a narrow tightrope. So you have some room to play with your center of gravity. Awesome, when you're ready, arms will come up. Big reach of the arms. Keep the 50-50 in the feet. And on your next breath, tip yourself forward, either halfway where you're parallel to the floor or all the way where you start to drop your head below your heart. Good, drive back up on your next breath. Good. Be more concerned on your back foot loading than how far down you go. Go for it on your next breath. His back heel is gonna stay down into the floor. Beautiful, good. You're gonna drive from the back leg up through the crown. So good. The muscles are working. Body's very intuitive and knows what to do if you keep the base of support solid. Good. One more time. Back up. So good. Good. Hands come to the hips. Pivot your back heel up on one breath and then float it forward on the next. Good. Inhale, raise your arms. Exhale, forward fold. Bend your knees. Watch what your shin bones do when you do that. Inhale, come up, raise the arms. Good. And notice if your shin bones start to shove back behind your ankle joints when you do that. See if you can keep your knees bent enough to keep the shins like pillars over the ankles. Yeah? Go for it. Yeah, you can center yourself. Inhale, raise your arms. Exhale, forward fold. Bending the knees to keep your shins like pillars and your center of gravity over the feet. Inhale, halfway lift. Chest reaches forward. Just kind of float halfway up. And then exhale, float all the way down. Root your feet. Electrify up through the body, reach the arms up, all the way up to Tadasana. Good, exhale, hands by your sides. Good, let's do that again. Inhale, raise your arms. Good, feel the base of support. Exhale, tip yourself in half. As you bend your knees, keep that center of gravity front to back and right to left. Good, inhale, halfway lift. Crown of the head reaches forward, feel what your center of gravity does. Shift forward. He's gonna bend his knees a little more. There you go, awesome, good. Come all the way up on your next breath. Working those legs, good, and then floating the arms down to Tadasana. Good, okay, let's step which leg did we do first? Right leg back. Right leg steps back. Good, hands to your hips. Good, take an inhale breath. And an exhale breath, start to lower your back knee towards the floor as your back heel drives up, 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 up. Good, feel what that feels like. How are we doing there? Good.
Yeah.
Reach your arms up in front of you. And then I want you to imagine like you remember that platter of appetizers. Use your legs to push the heels of the palms up like you're offering the platter to the sky. Awesome. Now, try to offer that up a little more from the back heel driving up. Use the feet to get more length and more reach. Beautiful. Awesome. Release the hands. Inhale and step forward. Good. Next foot. Left foot steps back to a decent length so that's manageable for you. The back heel is going to drive up as much as you can over the ball of the foot, and his knee's going to bend. Good. Go and reach your hands out like you're pushing out through the heels of your palms like Spider-Man, and then start to reach the heels of your palms up. Good. Now, instead of sinking into your legs, try to use your feet to drive up the chain into your legs, especially on the exhale. Try on the exhale to get longer and taller, more powerful for your feet. So good. Awesome. And he's going to release his hands, next breath, and step forward. Good. Inhale, raise your arms. Exhale, forward fold. Bend your knees a lot. Plant your hands on the floor. Step back. Bend your knees a lot. Go into plank. Good. And in plank, spin your fingertips out. Take your feet wide, about a little bit wider than your pelvis apart. Good. Now feel the energy of the feet here. Can you drive your heels up over the balls of your feet and try to energize so as if you were pushing into a wall and the wall were pushing back into you like springs. Draw that energy back up into the core of the body and out through the crown of the head. Awesome. Bend the knees, lift the pelvis, up and back, down dog. Good. Heels, go ahead and keep them pretty high here to start. Let the knees open up again. Good. Now peek at the ankle joint. The front of the ankle joint. Try to let it close down equally. So let's do this. He's going to shorten his down dog a little bit. This will be easier if your down dog is shorter. Okay, with the knees bent, peek at your ankle joint and let the front of the ankle joint close down as you drop the heels towards the floor, but then also back behind you. Go back with the heels. Good. Inhale, drive the heels up. Exhale, drop the heels towards the floor and back. So it's like the middle of the foot comes down and then the heels go back. Good. Inhale, drive the heels up. Resist letting the ankles roll away from each other. Exhale, drop the heels down. Beautiful. Imagine like you were going to spread the backs of the calves into somebody's hands. You're going to spread and reach. He's shaking. Good. Inhale, drive the heels back up. Try to lift the tail up higher when you drive the heels up. Beautiful. Good. Last one. Exhale, drop the heels, smush, smush, smush into somebody's imaginary hand behind you. Good. Child's pose. Come down onto the knees, take a break. Big toes together. Good. Breathe into the back, breathe into the tops of the feet. Feel the relationship of the shins to the ground here. Awesome. Good. If you guys need blocks, or if you have like a block at home, or you could use like a book or something to kind of elevate you, we're going to use blocks for the next little series of things that we're going to do. So if you have them, great. If you don't, you can modify it, and I'll give you different modifications if you don't have a block. Okay, so come on up. We're going to go.
You can use pillows, rolled up towels, and really anything.
Yeah, and anything where you can just elevate yourself a little bit. Okay, so let's start here. We're going to come up to the knees. Left foot, let's take the left foot forward. And this leg is going to take on the same shape as when you were on your back in that happy baby where you were grabbing onto your thigh. So you're going to be turned out a little bit like a flashlight, like this way. Block's gonna go on the inside of that foot, inside of the ankle. Hands are gonna plant down on the block. Tuck your back toes, and then take an inhale breath. Try to sit down into your left hip as you straighten your back leg. Good. And the more you can sit down in the left hip as if your hands were still there, so you're actively pushing down through the foot and actively standing in your foot with your left butt. Awesome. Keep that back heel energized like you did in plank. So feel the back heel drive up off of the ball of the foot a little bit more. Right heel drives up. Yeah. Take a breath. And as you exhale, reach your left arm open, start to twist open to the left. Notice your center of gravity is going to start to change. You try to keep it equal front to back without frying out the whole front leg. Can you put a little more juice in the back leg? Awesome. And maybe even get a little lighter on your block or whatever you're using to kind of prop you up there. Good, nice and slow. Return back to center with your breath. Good. Left heel stays rooted. Take an inhale. Keep your butt as low as you can. Exhale, step your back foot forward to meet it. Beautiful, good. Come to stand. Inhale, raise your arms. Exhale, sit your butt back and down, kind of like that happy baby pose. Good, and then go ahead and go for your forward fold. Keep your knees bent as you do that. Hands on the block, we're gonna get into this side a little bit differently. Drop your butt as low as you can. Really sit your hips back. Keep your heels down. Then step your left foot back. Big step back with your left foot. Beautiful, good. So use this as a little bit of a stretch, but more of like strengthening and creating stability in the hips and the strengths all the way up the chain through the feet. Good, so feel that front leg, the knees tracking relative, like with the middle three toes, okay? As you push the heel down, hip drops down with it. Good. Against that, back heel drives up and drives more power into this front back leg. Awesome. When you're ready, keep that space of support solid. Start to twist open towards your right. The right arm will just kind of be there, but the chest is what's rotating. Beautiful. Feel your head and face get lighter. Get lighter on your block. Use your legs, not your arms. Breathe. Very focused. And exhale, set it down. Take an inhale. He's going to keep his right hip hugged in towards the left as he steps forward. Little baby squat. Good. Take an inhale. Heels stay down just as much as the balls of the feet, and then roll yourself back up. Roll or come to full stand. That's the roll. Awesome. Inhale, raise your arms. Exhale, forward fold with your feet turned out like that. Good. With your feet turned out, we're just going to get a little outer hamstring work. So go ahead and push down through the outer blades of the feet, outer edges of the feet. Push down. And then see if you can keep the balls of the feet down. So the base of the big toe stays down. We put just a little more emphasis in the outer heel, outer edge of the foot. Good. Against that, can you kind of like, imagine like you're going to slide your heels together and lift your tailbone higher. Hello, outer hamstring. Breathe. Inhale, especially for you runners. That's a really yummy stretch, probably yummy and kind of gnarly as well. Good. And then go ahead and soften the knees. Drop your tailbone a little bit. Awesome. And then again, step your right foot back. Good. Take an inhale breath. Let's take the block higher. Good. Take an inhale breath. Notice how much weight is in the feet. Try to distribute it equally and take some weight off of the block or whatever you're using to prop yourself up higher. Good. This time, reach your right arm out. Take an inhale. And then as you exhale, start to turn your chest. So if you have a spotlight coming out of your chest, right where my little logo sign is here, turn the spotlight to face toward your right, but try not to lose that stability of the feet, the anchoring of both legs, 50-50 in your feet. Yeah, where you almost may not even need a block. Perfect. From here, spin the back foot down for that 45-degree angle like you had earlier. Push down through the foot and then slingshot yourself up. We call that warrior two. Awesome. Warrior two, we breathe. Inhale. Exhale, side angle. Inhale, come back up. And exhale, side angle. Left elbow down, what's happening to the feet? Inhale, back up. And exhale, tip yourself over. 50-50, good. Keep the 50-50s. You're gonna come up and reverse the warrior. So right hand will go down the right thigh, left arm will lift up. Now pause here, take a few breaths. Notice how the spine wants to just kind of like crunch over and back there to the right. Plug your feet in again, like the three-pronged outlet. Plug in and drive energy up through the spine to lift. Beautiful, awesome. One more breath, inhale, big full open left lung there. Exhale, release the arm, pivot your back heel up and step forward. Good, I like the arms there. Inhale, chair pose. Exhale, Tadasana. Good, once more, inhale, chair pose. Moving with the breath, feet stay rooted. Exhale, Tadasana. Good, last time, 6. Try to go towards your chair pose. This time, let's keep the hands on the hips. And then stay low in that right hip. Stay rooted in the 3 points of the right foot and float your left foot back. High lunge to start. Good. Both hands on the block. Good. Feel what's happening to the right hip and the right knee. See if you can avoid letting the right hip sass out to the right. Keep it contained and hugged in, and that should help you keep weight equally distributed through the feet. Get nice and light on your block, then reach your left arm out to the side. Start to twist your spotlight open towards where your left hand is facing. And notice again the right knee and the right hip. Can you avoid letting the right knee collapse inwards? Beautiful. Keep that work, and then take your back foot and spin it down. Warrior 2. He's gonna come up by pressing the feet down and breathe. Good, take an inhale breath, long breath in. Exhale, root the feet, get taller. Good, next breath, he's gonna take his right elbow down to his right thigh. We call this side angle. Reach the left arm overhead. Good, and then come back. So do one breath to one movement, just playing with the center of gravity and playing with your base supports, trying to stay rooted, especially on the back leg when you go down. Good, notice if your toes are clenching to try to grab onto the floor. Can you let them root through the floor instead? Awesome, good, root through the floor to come up. One more time like that. Hip hinging, 50-50 in the feet. And exhale, come back to neutral. Warrior 2. Awesome, we'll take it back in reverse. Left arm down the left thigh. Good, and then noticing here, take a few breaths in this shape. And just notice what your breath is doing, notice what your spine is doing, and notice your base of support. Can you plug your base of support more into the floor? All 3 points on each foot. Climb your spine up higher. Climb that right arm up higher. Climb the whole rib cage, even the left rib cage up higher, higher, higher through the work of the legs. Beautiful, good. Release, warrior 2. Pivot your back heel, your hands can come to hips or wherever, yeah. Wherever they feel stable, and then step forward. Awesome, inhale, chair pose. Exhale, forward fold. Keep the base of support. The shins are like pillars. Good. Shins are like pillars. Make that your main priority as you start to come up. Shins stay like pillars and come on up.
All the way.
Without shoving the top of the pillar back. I'm going to do that again. Bending the knees. Good. Here's your ankle joint. This is the bottom of the pillar. Your butt's going to hit you in the face. Good. And then back up as you straighten the leg. Or yeah, exactly. So if he straightens too much, go ahead and straighten too much. The ankle joint, this is no longer a pillar. You shove the top of the pillar back. Bend the knees enough so that the ankle joint is going to be the base of your pillar. And here's the pillar. Yeah? Good. Keep that and then come up. So try not to shove the top of the pillar back. It's a really common thing where you're not using your hamstrings if you do that. We want you to use your hamstrings in all activity. Try that again, one more time. Forward fold without sending your shin bones back. Nice, good, awesome. And then from there, halfway lift, root the feet, pull the chest forward. Awesome, good. Bend your knees a lot, plant your hands flat on the floor and step back into plank. Awesome. Okay. Take your feet a little wider again. Drive your heels up actively. Notice this time the weight in your hands. Keep it equal. And then let's roll the outer edges of the feet, outer and inner edges of the feet. You're gonna roll the blades of the feet so that the heels roll to the left. Better way of explaining it. Heels roll to the left. Now push the edges of the feet into the floor. Good, and try to stand more into the right hand. Feel how you get lighter. More weight into the right hand. Feel the left waist lift up. Good, and then rock back to center, drive the heels up. Good, take an inhale breath. Exhale, roll the heels to the right. Good, actively push the feet down into the floor And at the same time, push the left hand down into the floor to lift the right side waist up. Right side waist keeps lifting. Beautiful, good. And then come back to center. Down dog, bend your knees. Heels stay up slightly. Let's take a short down dog. So walk your hands back towards your feet, right about there. Good, maybe a little less than that. Yep, good. Spotlights up through your kneecaps. Let them kind of push out and open like you did on that happy baby. Good. And then, can we bend the knees and leave your butt high? It's tricky. Bend the knees and leave the butt high. You're gonna have to use muscles to do that. Put more weight in your legs than in your feet. Beautiful. He's gonna hover 1 foot off the floor. Try to resist collapsing into the waist or into one of the arms. Keep this nice stable support. Good, and then set it down. Left leg floats up without letting the right heel drop. Very good, awesome. Set that down. Take an inhale breath, make yourself bigger, wider. And as you exhale, drop the heels towards the floor. As the middle of the foot goes down and as the heel, imagine the heel sliding back. Good. Plug your toes in like they have a bunch of springs that you could just plug in and drive the heels up. Good, and then back down. Feel like you're pushing down on springs, and then the springs push back up on you as the heels lift. Good, 1 breath to lower into the springs, push them down like you're loading in, and then next breath, drive them up. Good, now try to get this sense of spring all the way up into the hips here. Good. Drive the heels up a little bit quicker and then plant the heels down without sinking into the low back. Awesome. One more time. Inhale, drive up. And exhale, slowly come down. Good. Walk your hands back to meet your feet. Bend your knees. Your shins are like pillars as you start to roll one vertebrae up at a time. Just really mindful of the breath, really mindful of your center of gravity, really mindful of your base of support. Okay, sweating. Cool. Take your feet wide, hands to your hips, bending your knees, and let the heels push down equally right to left. Usually we have one heavier heel than the other. Try to find this like rooting down first. Take an inhale breath. And then an exhale breath, you're gonna tip yourself forward. And see if when you tip yourself forward this time, take your heels and hide it behind your second and third toes. All of your toes, if they have, we're gonna go to laser beams again. If they have laser beams shooting out through all of your toes, all the laser beams would shoot in the same direction forward. Just spin your heels out a little bit. Keep going. Yep. Take an inhale. Good. He's doing a great job with those shins as pillars. You guys see that? And then slowly start to bring yourself forward without losing that sense of the heels rooting, without losing that sense of the base of the big toe, the base of the pinky toe rooting. Against those 3 points in each foot pushing down, feel those, just imagine the 3 arches slowly starting to lift up. Beautiful, good, awesome. Hands clamp down to the floor if you can get them there. And most of us will probably need to bend our knees to get our hands to the floor. Take an inhale breath. And as you exhale, root your heels down into the floor more. And imagine like instead of pushing your calves back into someone, push the middle of your hamstrings back into someone, middle of the thighs, and then start to have that take you halfway up. You're gonna keep the knees bent here. Middle of the thighs, move back. Feet stay rooted, equally front to back and right to left. Beautiful, good. Hands by the sides. Take an inhale breath. Plug the feet in as you exhale, come back up. Keep the legs active. Legs down. Good. Inhale, raise your arms. Good. And then try to move the frontal hip points forward here. Straight legs. Press the feet down. Hands by your hips. Bend your knees and hinge forward. Go halfway here. So how do you catch yourself using the legs and the base of support? Good. Notice where your arches want to collapse in your body. Try to recommit to your foundation and then forward fold. Last time, inhale, halfway lift, lengthen forward with your spine as your heels root into the floor just as much as the balls of the feet. And then exhale, come all the way up. Feel that? Inhale, raise your arms. Exhale, back to center. Good. Now, here's your center point. Center point here. Heel toe your feet to touch slowly. So you're gonna heel, woo, toe, heel, toe, and then go back out. Heel toe, push down with your toes, heels up, spin and go the other way. Lift up with your toes, spin and go the other way. And then do that one more time. Your toes and your heels have springs all the way up to your brain. Good, last time, one more. Relax your face, relax your jaw. Feel the muscles of your feet and lower legs working to do that work. Good, go for it. Heel toe, last time to come back to center. Good. Tadasana. Okay, so just before we cool down here, this is part of the cool down. Take your hands on your hips and take your feet just about, hip width apart. Need it?
No, use it as a prop.
Oh, okay.
This is one of those exercises, we're gonna do the clock, right?
Yeah.
It's one of those exercises where, again, like yesterday or last class where we were sort of doing a warrior three and you wanted to use a prop, like grab onto a banish or something. If you try this and you're like, man, that balance just isn't there yet, just have like a countertop, something you just sort of touch to sort of like help you with your balance as you sort of go through the movement.
It's a tricky one.
Yeah.
Okay, so your ankle joint is here. It's basically, if you can imagine like a dowel, like this thing, going through your ankle joint, you want that to stay pretty neutral rather than do this or do this. So through one of your ankle joints, we'll start with lifting the left leg. Yeah, left leg. Do you want this too?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And you're just gonna tap. So it's a little ankle clock. So you're just gonna tap the heel forward, but sit the hips back. So think about your center of gravity here, your base of support. Stay there. Come back up, slightly lift the leg, and then go back out. So we're going 12 o'clock, 3 o'clock, you can do the inner blade, and then back up. 6 o'clock, 12, 3, 6.
And you see how my ankle
Wants to
roll in
wiggle
there?
and roll.
See if you can reinforce it to come back up.
Yeah.
It's not gonna be easy. So
And
this is where we over-supinate. I've heard that term before.
And then drive back up. And then sit back. So you're gonna go across towards 9 o'clock without letting this front foot lose its base of support. Drive through that base of support to come back up. Tap if you need to balance, and then sit. Heel comes up, hip sit back. So all of my attention is mostly as I tap 12 and 3 and back up and 6. All my attention is happening to how my body's trying to stabilize this changing center of gravity. And there's my base of support, that small base of support. Let's do one more. Keep those 3 points of contact. Tap out, either the toe or the inner arch. Tap back, 6 o'clock. Your clock can be big or small. Tap over, 9 o'clock. Good, come to neutral. And then switch sides.
So that was with a support and then without.
And without a support.
You watch me struggle now.
Okay, so here we go. Just peek at your foot. Most of the time, most of us having toes straight ahead, it's gonna be very hard to manage the ankle not doing that and collapsing in. So toes out is totally okay, especially if in your happy baby, that's what your foot was doing. So when you sit in, it might be easier to manage. So just dance around with where your toes are facing. Go for it. Good, 3 points of contact. Good, he's gonna go towards 12 o'clock. We're gonna go towards 12 o'clock, come back up. Tap out, I gotta even it out over towards, well, now it's 9 o'clock, depending on which clock you're facing. 6 o'clock, back up, and then back over towards 3. Come, good. 12, base of support, most important part of it. It's not important as how low you go as it is what's happening down below here. Back, and across, back and across. Good, one more time, tap forward. Feel that base of support, get a little shaky. Tap, try not to collapse into the arches, but keep them lifted. Tap back, and then go across. Beautiful.
Like ballerina.
Yeah, kind of like ballerina taps. Okay, cool, let's come on to the back. And if you guys want to stick around, when we pull it down, we're gonna do about a 10-minute clinic kind of style thing where we kind of workshop some of this stuff out. So if you want to understand more about what we're doing, or understand more about your body, stick around for the last 10 minutes and we'll just kind of chat about that. If you need to go for it, and we'll hopefully see you next time. Okay, as your feet are down on the ground, just recommit to your attention down there. 3 points of contact in your feet. Let your knees rock to the right. Let your feet roll. You're on the outer blades of your right foot and the inner blade of your left foot. Take a breath. As you exhale, push down through the blades and try to smush. Remember the cupcakes in the beginning? Smush, smush, smush back to the base of the soles of the feet to roll over the other side. So have your feet be the driver of this movement. Good. Feet spread down, and you're going to spread that cupcake frosting across and down the floor as the knees roll to the other side. Good. And then switch, rocking back and forth. Soft jaw, soft tongue. Let your attention be at the feet primarily. Good. And then one more time. Smush the cupcakes down at the middle of the foot to rock the knee over. Good. And then last one, smush, smush, smush those cupcakes down. Rock over to the other side. Awesome, come back to center. Give your knees a hug in. And let the tops of your feet just drop towards the floor like water pouring out of all 10 toes down towards the floor. Good. And then try to activate, try to roll the toes in and under like a waterfall that would kind of like curl under and drop under your heels. Good, or like a wave. And then flex the feet, go the other way, push the heels away. Good, keep the heels pushing away. And then imagine like you have a little pencil under each feet, under all the toes. Grab onto those pencils with the toes, but keep the heels as they are, keep the ankles as they are. Keep grabbing the pencil, ooh, left side. Keep grabbing the pencil, there we go, good. And then keep your toes like that as you circle the ankles around in one direction. Keep going. Do about 3 or 4 in one direction, and then go the other direction. You're not letting the toes lead the way, you're letting the ankle lead the way. You might find some interesting cracks in there. Good, and then let the toes spread open really wide, like they're surprised. And then hide them, scrunch them. And then surprise, and then hide them. And then surprise, spread, 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 like the skin on the bottoms of your feet, spread wide, wide, wide. And then relax, set the feet down on the floor. Awesome, cool. So that's the basic support class. Center of gravity, basic support. You can basically apply this attention to any sport that you're utilizing or using or playing or whatever. So yeah, if you want, stick around for the next 10 minutes or so, and we'll kind of break down some more of the biomechanics and the movement, maybe some stuff that you can do to create a better basic support and create a better connection and, like we call it, proprioception, better awareness of what's even happening in your lower half.
During this class, a lot of you guys, if you haven't really been focusing before on your foot and ankle, like mobility or strength, you might have realized you might have had some minor cramping, things like that. Just be aware of that tomorrow with whatever activity you're doing, whether it be cycling or playing basketball or running. It might be a little sore. It's the first time you've done in a long time. Just be aware of that and be honest about that, and don't try to just push through it, because the first time you're using some of these muscles, you don't want, like anything else, the soreness can become strength, but if that soreness also shows as a sign of fatigue, and it needs a little bit more time to recover. So just, maybe take a little bit off the gas pedal tomorrow or the next few days and sort of see how your body reacts to all this kind of stuff. It's just, I guess like you saw, if you take a look at that foot thing, there's lots of bones in your foot, and there's lots of joints, and there's lots of muscles in your foot, and all those little tiny ones, if you haven't used them in a long time, you're really sore, and any one of those, just like anything else, that if we ignore it, can eventually become pain. So we want to keep it soreness to strength rather than soreness to pain.
Good point.
Yes.
Cool.
All right. So clinic part, we want to talk a little bit about anatomy first, or we want to kind of go into?
Yeah, I think so. Okay. And I think just a big thing with a specific, well, I don't even want to just say specifically running, but with all
I mean, you run in almost all sports, so, you know.
Exactly.
Yeah,
Whatever.
Yeah.
I mean, nice and close.
except maybe swimming.
Yeah, swimming and swimming. Okay, hopefully you guys can see this. This is, I'm gonna back up a little bit because it's a little bright.
I'll take care of that.
Okay, he's gonna help me with the technological things.
Is that helping?
Yes, so much better. Okay, so here's the foot, a model of a foot. Okay, the heel bone, first of all, the base of support here. This heel bone is attached through all of these, that articulates with all of these really funky shaped bones. If you can see all those, they're very funky. What tends to happen is there's a lot of muscles, a lot of nerves, a lot of blood vessels, a lot of stuff going on in the foot. And what can happen is this space can be kind of compressed, especially if we're in shoes a lot and we don't let this place open up. Like these joints should move. And if these joints are mobile, then the heel can do its job when you go into what we call dorsiflexion. Dorsiflexion is what we were doing with the closing of the front of the ankle joint, where it rolls here. You have your tibia and your fibula. So we're looking at a left foot here. And when you go into a dorsiflexion and this ankle joint rolls like that, or it should, the heel drops back and creates this space. So when you're going to run, this would be when you're loading. And then when you go to push off, the driver of the energy to push you forward is from the base of the foot, drives up and back the back of the leg and pushes you forward. Yeah?
Yeah, totally.
Okay, cool. So what we can do with some of that to free up some of this space is, if you have tennis balls, we're gonna use some therapy balls here that you can just kind of take a look at. And basically we're just gonna swim along the whole base of the foot, but most of us are gonna have some stuff going on in this midfoot. I mean, I almost guarantee it. So we'll start with that. So go ahead, Mike's gonna just step on one of the balls.
So we use something called tune-up. I want to talk about the tool itself first. We use something called tune-up ball, and you can see it's stiff, but it still kind of has a little bit of give. My personal favorite was something that's pretty ubiquitous around most houses and parks, that tennis balls. A lot of kids like to use things like lacrosse balls. I even heard people talk about golf balls and softballs and baseballs. Okay, those aren't, I don't want to say those are necessarily bad. What you gotta understand is, if you're already sore, you're already hurt, that tissue's already really aggravated. That often, even if you're healthy, that stuff is just too stiff and too hard. You want something with a little bit of give, because we're not just going through like muscular tissue here. We're going through fascia, we're going through nerve endings, we're going through all this stuff, all of it needs to relax.
Yeah.
And if you're ever doing anything that makes you kind of tense up, you're like, do that. That's sort of like that little tensing up that tells you, okay, my nervous system, my fascia, my muscles, they're tensing up. And if we're all trying to relax everything, doing something that's going to tense them up like that might not necessarily be the smartest thing. So just go slowly, use something soft, tennis balls, especially if you have like a plantar fasciitis or a bursitis or a ball foot pain, something that's really kind of keeping you from walking or making you limp. You already know that you need to start with something a little softer. Yeah, and you can get these. These are probably ideal. Tennis ball is the next best thing. Again, if all you have is a lacrosse ball, it's better than nothing. Just go easy on it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Good point. Yeah. You don't ever want your body to feel like it's yelling at you to stop doing something and then ignoring it and trying to push past that message.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's basically what I'm saying, right?
Yeah.
Okay. So go ahead and stand up. He's just going to show you. I'll show you guys on the model. Can you hand me one of those balls?
Yeah.
And he's going to show you on his model body. Okay. So he's going to start with the ball right under that ankle joint. So I'll show you guys this way. Right under the ankle joint, and he's just gonna load the foot and let the ball kind of absorb into the tissue. And then he's gonna offload it. He's gonna load it and he's gonna offload it. Load it and offload it. And you can kind of swim around. So it might not be right where the ball goes right at first. You might want to swim around like the front, middle, heel area so you find something interesting.
And going back sort of to like listening to your body, there seems to be a common consensus that when you do foam rolling, when you do massage therapy, it's supposed to hurt. If it's feeling good, that's a good thing.
Less is more.
Yes, yeah. You don't have to go so deep that it's hurting or it's aggravating. Just if you're rubbing something out, if you're rubbing your heel out, you're rubbing your arch out, and it feels good, that's good.
Yeah. Yeah. Tissue likes that.
Yeah.
And then it's going to be more pliable and supple, and a lot of times you're going to be able to build more strength and stability into a more supple tissue. which is what we're trying to do with the feet. You want them strong, but you want them supple and able to like respond to different changing environments.
Yeah.
Okay, so you're gonna let the ball slide. Now think the three arches. Go towards the inner arch first and just let the ball kind of like swim its way along the inner arch of that foot. So the ball is just gonna swim along the inner arch of the foot, and you're just gonna find out where things are interesting for you. Okay, yep, and as he does that, so right now, like I said, we're on the arch there, like we're on the base. So he's rolling underneath the foot. Kind of tricky, but totally doable is to go towards like kind of where you just feel a lot of tension. Like I said, these midfoot bones are kind of funky. So get into that and then try to almost turn your foot so that you can get in sideways, like laterally. So he's gonna try to get in a little bit more, yeah, like wedging the ball in towards this side of the foot. See that?
Mm-hmm.
Cool. So there's a lot of muscles there that will just kind of like pull the big toe. Either it will like pull the big toe this way, which will affect those bones, or that tension in there can often collapse the arch where you're collapsed there. Okay, cool. Okay, awesome. And then go to the ball of the foot. Okay, here's the toes. They're kind of twisted on this little model here, but the toes here, these bones, these metatarsals are actually in your foot. So go right up along the ball of the foot where the metatarsal meets the toe. Hello. And you're just gonna let the ball kind of like dome around that arch of the foot. So you're just gonna swivel and swivel, but really try to let that happen at the ankle joint. Okay, so as you push down, let the ankle joint move more than the knee driving the movement. Kind of rainbowing over with the ankle joint. Good. And then go towards that outer arch, the pinky edge side. You can push the same thing. You just listen to your body. If you like a lot of pressure, go for it. Just make sure that you're not grimacing and that you're not holding your breath when you do it. Cool. Yeah?
Yeah.
Okay, awesome.
And this is a great exercise for just daily maintenance.
Absolutely.
This is great for a quick warm up before a run. Maybe in your season, if it's the first time you're wearing something like for runners, if you're about to start doing racing flats and you want to get a little bit more warm up because you're wearing a shoe that's got less cushion and less support, or even spikes, which is no cushion and no support. Just kind of helping wake the tissue up, get a little blood flow, sort of waking the nervous system up, so it's not just such a shock. And it'll be good for warm up and also for cool down, for a little bit of repair.
Cool. Okay, and so we won't do the other side because we're kind of like panicking this out.
Yeah.
But another thing with the ball that I really like, it's kind of gnarly. But if you think about the foot and everything that's attached, we don't have the rest that's attached here for your model, but there's a lot of muscles that go up there. One of them being the calf, especially for running. He's gonna go get Hank. And so this is something that if you do end up getting the therapy balls, or you can use like one tennis ball, you can do this. I would smush the ball right into like the space where like the middle of the calf, maybe up high, maybe like somewhere in the middle. And then all you're gonna do is you're just gonna, just like how we do child's pose, you're just gonna let yourself sit back towards your heels. So I'm gonna squish the ball between my hamstring and my calf. It's very, very intense. So I'm not going to try to just like sit back hard and just like, grin and bear it. I'm going to sit and listen to the tension in the tissue, take breath, and then I might squeeze. I might actively try to squeeze the ball with my heel calf. I'm squeezing the ball together. That means we want to cramp a little bit, and then try to relax and let the ball melt in more. Okay, so that's also a good release for runners, especially because it's so repetitive. Runners, cyclists, jumpers. Yeah.
Let's talk a little bit about how the feet mirror the pelvis.
Oh.
So we have our feet here. Now, where most people think their legs start are right here.
Yeah.
When in actuality, you have your psoas, your deep hip flexor, actually attaches right up here at the base of your rib cage onto your spine.
Yeah.
And then it comes down through your pelvis and attaches right here. That is your hip flexor, which comes with or one of the main ones that works with hip flexion. Mm-hmm. So your actual leg starts up in the middle of your back and it goes all the way to the tips of your toes.
Yep.
So and with that said, that's all the tissue is connected. It's all moving together. So we have a little concept where it's like sort of like in analysis, there's kind of separate parts, different muscles, different parts of the body when you're analyzing the body help. But in reality, when you're actually moving, it's all one unit working together. So whatever you're going to help here is going to be mimicked here and vice versa.
Yeah.
Kind of go a little bit more into.
Yeah, and I think like when we get to the more like the pelvis class, we focus on that stuff. I'll dive into this a little bit deeper. But good to know that basically we have gravity. So we talked about center of gravity and base of support today. From your base of support, your center of gravity, that relationship of gravity and your base is basically just different forces being applied to the system. So when you have gravity pushing down on you, that's what we call the center of gravity, is where you're trying to align your structure with the force of gravity pushing down. Your base of support is what roots you down so that you can go the other way. So everything in nature has an equal and opposite reaction. Every action has an equal and opposite reaction. So for example, with my feet, if I tend to be like, kind of like I hang out in one of my hips, let me like really try to over exaggerate this. If I hang out in one of my hips, this pelvis is mirroring what that foot is doing because of the forces of gravity and because of how I'm loading my base of support. So that can cause a tight psoas. It can cause, poor mobility of your hip, which you definitely want mobility of your hip so that you have power in your stride or whatever you're doing. And yeah, so like I said, we'll get to more of that when we dive into the pelvis class. But is that kind of where you're?
Sure, yeah. So, and now we're going to talk a little more specifically about injuries. So, some of the more common running injuries, even more common foot pains, would be like plantar fasciitis, ball foot pain. All the stuff we did here, increasing that mobility, increasing some of the therapy ball stuff, that's all going to help strengthen it, rehab it, keep you healthy. Especially when it comes to shin splints, that ankle mobility and that strength, that's really going to help when your when your foot comes down, you have that ground reaction force and comes back up. These muscles not being asleep, not just rolling over and having to take it all onto this muscle, onto these bones and the muscles up here, are going to keep that from getting really inflamed. So ankle health, foot health can really help with shin splints.
Yeah.
It can also really help with plantar fasciitis. I had, it must have been like 6 years ago now, but I was running a whole bunch. I had some really gnarly plantar fasciitis for about 9 months. I went from running very, very well. I was running about 80 miles a week. I was trying to qualify for, I think it was a 2000.
Longer than 6 years ago.
I think it was 2014. It was the 2013 year. I was trying to qualify for the Olympic trials, for the 2014 Olympic trials. If I'm doing my math, if I'm remembering correctly, these are the right years.
Doesn't matter.
Doesn't really matter. Anyways, I was running a whole bunch and I was doing really well. I just run my PR on the 5K. I went from basically running 80 miles a week to running 0. And it was all because of the heel problem here. And it's one of those things that, all runners are gonna have to deal with injury. All athletes are gonna have to deal with injury. It sort of kind of goes along with
All
that.
people.
All people, right? And some of this stuff that we're teaching you, I mean, I've had my sophomore in college in cross country in the fall, I had Achilles tendonitis that made me redshirt one season. The following spring in track, I had to redshirt because I had Achilles tendonitis in the other leg. I've had arch pains. I've had hip issues. It's one of those things. What we're doing here is really going to help you kind of help you kind of sort of mitigate that, manage that, recover from all this kind of stuff. But it's also one of those things where, it's always people kind of ask me like, well, what's causing my injury? And they're kind of surprised when I tell them, well, running is what's causing your injury. Too much too soon, overtraining. Whenever you're running and you're running too much, that's what causes it.
And like, what do you think? Like, running is a skill.
Yeah.
Some people just think they can just go run. It's a skill
Yeah.
that, to do it well and to not just from a performance-based view, but from an injury prevention view, running is a skill that needs to be developed. And part of the work that we're doing in here and kind of our goal with it is that we support like a good, healthy biomechanical memory in your body to where like you have the space to move, you have the strength to drive like more power through your body. But like, I mean, ultimately it's, yeah.
Yeah, and like I was saying, it's the running that hurts you. It is your individual and your unique body and what's going on inside of you is why your heel hurts where you got plantar fasciitis, somebody else got shin splints, and somebody else got knee pain, which
Right.
are all running. So the symptoms,
depends.
yeah, the symptoms are unique to you. The cause of the injury is always the running. So that's sort of one of those things where that, you know, we don't just want to focus on sort of being mindful when we're doing our yoga or when we're doing our exercises. We also be mindful when we're actually doing our activity.
And hopefully, and that's, I mean, for me as an athlete, I think my yoga practice has just made me a better all-around athlete because I've developed more body awareness and strength and flexibility and all of the things. But it's like, it should carry over. It's not just like this compartmentalized like thing that you do and then you separate it from your sport or your life. It's supposed to be, in my experience, has been very helpful to integrate it. So yeah, so everything that we're teaching you here, if you guys have any questions, let us know. But I think we kind of covered most of it for today, right?
Yeah, we covered a lot really quickly there.
Yeah.
I mean, we could have, like Shelby was saying, we could do
like
a whole
the
hour on the
ear
pelvis. We can do a whole hour on the hip, on the psoas. We can do a whole hour on our plantar fascia and fascia in general. So, you know, if you guys have any further or more specific questions, please get in touch with us. You can either, if this is on YouTube, you can comment some questions below, and then I will try to get back to you. If this is, if I'm emailing you this link, or Shelby's emailing you, or you're going through our Instagram, direct message us, email us. We're available for anything. Just let us know. We'll try and give you some insight.
Cool.
All right, guys. Thank you.
Bye. See you next time.